And Prez coming down in 3, 2, 1. We're live.
Welcome everybody to Wager Talk Today. We got a great show lined up, a lot of actionable betting information, couple of college basketball bets from Adam Trigger. He's going to talk Lehigh and Colgate, Utah Valley and Cal Baptist. Couple of NBA bets from Skee. He's going to look at the Lakers and the Kings, the Warriors and the Mavs. Teddy's got a big game breakdown on the Butler game. And we're going to end the show with Nick Borrman. The Players' Championship in golf starts tomorrow. We got bets for you on that. Our new website is up. Tell us what you think. It went up late last night. There's still a kink. I'm now rhyming. My mom has a mink. Teddy covers. You remember when minks were a thing? Did your mother want a mink coat?
God, no. Yeah, that wasn't my family, dude.
No, that
Maybe
was mine.
your family.
My mother was so excited the day she brought home her first mink coat and her last. Adam Trigger joining us, everyone. Adam, welcome to Wager Talk Today. It's college basketball insanity all the time now. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. I wish it was this 12 months out of the year, although I don't know if I would have like any relationships or sleep or anything like that, like if it was the case, because it's all day, every day. But it's certainly fun while it's going on. I love March. It's my favorite month of the year. So, yeah, no complaints here.
Teddy?
Let's talk some conference tournament action. Lehigh and Colgate. Looking at the Wager Talk live odds screen, which I had a moment ago, and now I've lost where this game was. Lehigh, 8.5. There's even a prominent 9 out there in a global book. Colgate, the favorite here. Total 134.5. What do you want to do with this one? Is this a tight affair, or is this a game that Colgate's going to just take care of business?
I think it's going to be a good game. I will be in the building. It's the Cotterell Center in Hamilton, New York. It's about 25 minutes from my house. So I'll be at this one tonight. I played against the line move here, Teddy. So I have a feeling the move is in relation to Dominic Parolin from Lehigh potentially being like on the fence to play today. If you watch the Boston University Lehigh game from Sunday, you would see that he left with injury, did not return. But the more I started to dig into this game, I don't think him being out really changes Lehigh's chances to win here. They've got the depth and the personnel, I think, to combat him not playing in this game. The reason for that is, Lehigh's going to play through their guards regardless. And the one sort of thing Colgate might have on them, which is their size, I don't necessarily think helps them if Lehigh is playing, with 4 guards on the floor, which they did at times on Sunday to combat that Boston University had. And actually, when Parolin went out, Lehigh kind of made their run. Lehigh was down 21 in that game, came all the way back to win in overtime. So maybe the 4-guard lineup is a little bit better for them, especially against a team with Colgate that's played 2 bigs, at the same time simultaneously at times this year. Now, I've said all year that if one team in this conference, Teddy, was going to push Colgate, it was going to be Lehigh. And had Lehigh been healthy all year, I think they would have pushed him more in the conference standings. But they are, for the most part, healthy. They got Keith Higgins back, a huge piece, to their backcourt. Tyler Whitney-Sydney's the best guard in the conference, in my opinion. And like Colgate, really, I don't think it's they've made a big enough deal, or anyone's made a big enough deal about the fact that like this Colgate team isn't the caliber of teams that they've had the last 5 years when they've been going to the NCAA tournament year after year. Losing Tucker Richardson and Oliver Lynch-Daniels has really hurt them, in my opinion. Tucker Richardson was one of the best defensive players to ever play at the school. And, Braden Smith, credit to him, he's a sophomore. He's made strides. He's a better defender than he was in November, but he's still not a Tucker Richardson, and he's still not going to be able to guard Tyler Whitney-Sydney or these great Lehigh guards that just keep coming out of the woodwork. Cam Gillis had 30 against BU. He's a freshman. No one expected that from him this year, but he's kind of worked his way into some playing time. I just think Lehigh's got the right mix regardless. There's no way they should be an 8.5-point underdog here. I actually make this closer to like 3. So my number's way off the number right here. And the other thing, Teddy, these kids are headed on spring break. I'm pretty sure the Colgate spring break starts tomorrow. I don't know that they have the crazy atmosphere that there was last year. And Lehigh's probably going to bus of kids in. There was a bunch of Lehigh kids at the Lafayette game. It's only 3 hours away. I bet they show up for the final. Lehigh plus 8.5. I think it's a great bet. And I won't be surprised if they pull the upset.
So I want to ask you about the Patriot League championship games in general. You know, do you have a feel? Is this a spot where historically the favorite's been able to dominate? Does the history matter at all when we talk about these type of championships, or is this just team A, team B, throw everything out, past, future? Let's concentrate on this matchup. Talk to me about that for a moment, Adam.
So, Teddy, I've gotten the chance, living in the Northeast, I've gotten a chance to attend a lot of these campus site host type games, which is, of course, what this is tonight. You know, the Colgate being the higher seed gets to host the championship game. And I do feel like the number gets a tad inflated for that reason. Okay, here's the thing with like some of these, like the Patriot League specifically. They don't get a good turnout most of the year. Like the majority of the year, all these Patriot League teams typically play in front of half full gyms. And so even Colgate, you know, there's a misconception that they have this great home court advantage. They have a good quote unquote home court advantage because they've been a good team for the last half decade. So they win their games because they're just a good team. During the regular season, they get 800 people at a game. Tonight, they'll probably come close to the 1,800 capacity of Cotterell Court. But I think, like when I was at Lafayette the other day, I think the great crowd just elevates the game. I don't think it really hurts the road team that much because it kind of makes the atmosphere great for both teams, in my opinion. So I've seen it with a lot of these games. The home team keeps getting bet up. They're always laying too many. So I would fade some of like the quote unquote host team in a title game. We saw it last night with Merrimack going down to Wagner. I was at Bryant UMass Lowell last night. I felt like Bryant was the better team most of that game, probably deserved to win. So I think this is just a very generous number and way too inflated based on the scenario.
Adam Trigger joining us, everyone. And guys, Adam is rolling in college basketball right now. 18-7 run, right?
Yeah, 18-7 my last 25 plays. Not that it matters, but I had a really good March last year. I'm hoping I can replicate that again. I don't know. I go to these games all year long, get to see these teams play in person. Maybe there's something to it, but yeah, I feel pretty locked in right now and hope to keep cashing them through April.
Hey, brother, it matters, man. Congrats on your great March last year, and I know it's going to continue into this year. And it matters for me. I had a great March last year, and I'm coming into this March feeling pretty confident. So that confidence is important. Adam, what do you got going for the clients tonight? And then we'll take apart your next game.
So Lehigh plus 8.5 is a client play. It's the only thing I've released so far today. But, you know, I was coming to hang out with you guys this afternoon. I didn't want to hold back. So I wanted to give the out there. But it's championship week Wednesday. I'm sure I'm going to add something else along the way. And the best way to make sure you don't miss any of those is the March Madness Bonanza package that we have up. All the handicappers are have it on their page right now. By far the most cost-effective way to get all the plays through Championship Monday, which is 3 weeks away. So really good value on that. I would strongly advise if you want the college basketball picks to take advantage of that.
Yeah, guys, it's $149. And I mean, to give you perspective, Adam puts up 2 college basketball picks. It's $29. You're looking at less than 6 days of plays for $149, and yet you get the entire March Madness. Adam, let's turn our attention to Utah Valley. They are -5 over Cal Baptist. Where are you going in this one?
Yeah, so had I kind of known that Scotty Washington might not play as well earlier, this may have been a client play as well. Like if I had known that when it was -3.5, I'm almost certainly would have played Utah Valley. Now 5.5. You got to respect the fact that you're still on a neutral floor. This is the WAC tournament. It's out in Las Vegas, so I think it would be more kind of a strong lean in that range. But I'd be shocked if Utah Valley loses this game. So the other thing that I think is a misconception here, like Dominique Daniels is definitely not going to play. He is Cal Baptist by far their best player. He's kind of been listed as questionable every game. He hasn't played since February 3rd. I know it's a knee injury. He's only like a junior or a sophomore or a junior. I think he's a junior with 2 years left. There's no way they're going to trot him out there in a game like this, and risk further damaging his knee. So I think you can handicap this with him out. And if Washington's out too, that's tough. I got to see this Cal Baptist team play down at Tarleton State a couple weeks ago. Washington was kind of the one guy that impressed me in that game. Outside of that, there wasn't much to like. They were, they take bad shots. They don't make many of them. 335th nationally in field goal percentage. And most of those stats were accumulated with Daniels, who's one of the best players in this league. Without him, they're 2-8. And the turnovers, which were already an issue, are increasing because Daniels runs a lot of that offense, and he's kind of like, sort of the calming presence for them out there, which I felt like Washington was that for a stretch in the Tarleton game. So like I said, if he's out, man, it's hard to see them, even staying within single digits if that's the case. Utah Valley, guys, this is a team people are going to remember from last March because of their great run to the NIT Final Four, but this is not that team. They lost their coach and pretty much their entire roster. There was 11 new players for first-year coach Todd Phillips on this roster coming into this season. So I'm willing to pretty much throw out November, December, almost parts of January. 11 new players and 2 guys returning that didn't play much the year before. Pretty much an entire rebuild. What have they done since? They're 7-1. Closed the season 7-1. They look awesome. Tanner Toolson came in from BYU. He's played a big part. Stone Carrawell is a transfer from Austin Peay, kind of emerged as their best player. I don't think anything was known, wasn't known that either of those guys would be what they are coming into the season. Like I said, just a total rebuild, a total unknown. But if you've watched them lately, they look like they're going in the right direction. It's a neutral floor. I don't know how much Cal Baptist is going to show up in this game, especially if Washington is out. Utah Valley might win this tournament, guys. If I had to pick a dark horse, like obviously Grand Canyon and Tarleton are the 2 favorites. If I had to pick a dark horse in the WAC, it's Utah Valley, and I think they cover tonight.
So I want to ask you here about the line move here, because this was, you could have had this at 3.5 at the Open at Circa. There were 4s out there last night, certainly in Vegas as well as around the country. Now it's 5.5. What's your strategy when it comes to conference tournament action? Are you willing to lay a higher price, or is that the reason this game's here and not perhaps a client play?
Yeah, Teddy, that's the reason this game's here. But I will say this, I think you have to reassess. So for me, like I said, had I known that Washington is probably a no-go, I'm probably playing 4. So I'm seeing 5s. You kind of just have to decide how much that is worth. If you think he's worth more than a point, go ahead and lay 5. I wouldn't talk anyone off of laying 5. It's just, I try to hold my, my plays, especially the ones I'm releasing to clients. I like to, try to tighten the parameters, if you will. So for me, at that number, it's just a little bit less appealing, knowing I would have 3 possessions. It is a neutral floor. It's the first round of these tournaments, the opening round, if you will, can be a little bit unpredictable. If you've been watching these right? Like Siena almost winning last night at 3 a.m. I was still up for that, by the way. Shot did not go down. It's just a fitting end to that season for them. But yeah, the games are unpredictable, so it's tough to lay sometimes, but hard to see Utah Valley not rolling here, Teddy.
Adam Trigger. Adam, outstanding work. Enjoy the college basketball. Keep winning for our clients. We love having you on. We'll see you next Wednesday, same time. Adam Trigger, everyone. Teddy, so before we get into what did bettors learn, good news, bad news. I'm still wearing the same damn pants, bro. And they freaking stink. Vivian commented on them. I wore them at hockey last night, and I can't take them off. And I don't know what to do. I went 3-1 yesterday. The run continues. I'm on a 16-3 run for my clients. I also swept the board in the daily presidential address. So if you want my 2 NHL free bets, please make sure we get 100 likes. I'm in a win-win. I don't mind wearing these shitty, stinky pants for the next 2 weeks. I also don't mind taking them off and changing pants. So But with that said, my clients come first, so I will continue to wear these bordering on hard, stinky pants. And I want to, I am still wearing them, guys. I'm not lying here. These are the same ones. Check a few days ago. Teddy, what did we learn in the wonderful world of sports betting?
Well, we learned sometimes we need to change our pants.
No,
that being said, look,
we don't.
This is, we call this show Sports Central for Gamblers. And today's a class example. Huge week in college hoops. We're breaking down college hoops. We got NBA, you got it. Golf breakdowns, you got it. NHL, full steam ahead. UFC, whatever. And of course, what did I learn? Half the front page on ESPN.com. It's the NFL, king of them all. Truly a Sports Central for gamblers. And of course, NFL, in many ways, it's on center stage right now. Headlines everywhere this week. Free agent signings, trades, franchises, everything. And they're all graded immediately. Top free agent contracts, worst free agent contracts, lists, opinions galore. This is my take on paying attention to this stuff closely in March. Don't pay any attention to any of it. Don't waste your time looking at the little picture. When it comes to the NFL, know the needs, what the teams need going into the offseason. Know organizations, this is a good organization or not so much in recent years. After free agency and the draft are done, then you evaluate. All right. Anything now is hype for fans, and all fans convinced they're all going to go 17-0 next year. And the draft, more than free agency, tells you what you need to know about a team's true strategy for the upcoming season. Win now versus build for the future. Free agency really isn't as good a predictor or indicator of that. So immediately after the draft, late April, be ready to roll. That's when the markets really start to see action, season wins, which is what I care about most. But in the time being, all these NFL headlines, ignore them. Little picture isn't going to help you. In the big picture, we want to evaluate a team and their entirety of the offseason. Not, oh, they signed this guy. Oh, they signed that guy. All that being said, Kirk Cousins to Atlanta. Long term, don't know how the deal's going to work out. Short term, if ever there was a team that needed a quarterback to be decent and a new coach, Atlanta got their quarterback. And that's one team that has to be upgraded already when it comes to NFL power ratings. Kirk Cousins should make a difference for that squad. That's what I learned, Lawrence. Back to you, my friend.
Teddy, couple of things to take care of, and then we'll bring Skee in. Firstly, one of our listeners, Bam Golf, writes, maybe there's a direct correlation between no sex with Viv and those pants. Okay, I'm game. No sex during my winning streak. I'm committed. My clients come first.
Clearly.
Please. How long is this winning streak going to go on for? Okay, so I am committed. No sex until I have a losing night. So
you already said it, Lawrence. Your clients come first.
Okay.
Before you get to come, your clients will come. Yes, I get it.
Oh my God, Teddy. So yesterday, a guy writes in the chat room, in the comment section, two old guys talking about sex. How gross. For all you young guys out there, there are two alternatives in life: growing old or being dead. I prefer growing old. You young guys should enjoy the fact that these two mid-50-year-old men discuss sex. There's hope. There's hope for you all. You will all grow old, and you will all enjoy a healthy sex life regardless of your age. Bask in that. I have a promo to give out, Teddy. Prez 25, 25% off any of my packages. George Wood mentioned, he's one of our listeners. He mentioned he's going to go buy my plays today. Don't buy my daily plays. Get a week, use Prez 25, take 25% off any package, day, week, month. Your Skee Profit's joining us, everyone. And Skee, there's hope for you too, bro.
Hope. I didn't have hope lost, so I'm all good over here.
Well said. Well said. But I'm just saying, man, it keeps going. Like as you age, it does keep going. Frankly, I'm in the best place I've ever been in my life, and I'm 55 in 2 months. So, enjoy. Skee, let's go. You are an LA Laker fan by heart. They are playing tonight. They're playing Sacramento. You've got a bet for us. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, I am a Lakers fan, and because of that, I want nothing to do with the side. I'll put my attention to the total in this game. And what I'm looking at, if you look at both teams post All-Star, just 1 + 1 = 2 for this game. 9th in pace and 15 in pace for Sacramento, but we know Sacramento prefers to play a little faster. Both top 5 offensive rated teams, both teams bottom 10 defensive rated teams. You look at season long, both teams bottom 10 defending the 3. So I just see a game that would be played up tempo. I see a game that's not going to have a whole lot of defense for a majority of it, but I prefer to cut this game in half. And the reason is because it is an important game for both of these teams. They're jockeying for position over there in the West. Seeds, 10 through 6 or 10 through 5 are separated by like 4 games. So the Kings are a team that the Lakers are chasing, and in that second half, I can see the defense ramp up. Also, the Kings are on the back-to-back, so the more the game goes on, I can see them wearing out. That's what I'll say. So I look at first half numbers. Yeah, both of these teams combined 14-6 to the over their last 20 first halves. You have the Lakers first half on the road, 22-9 to the over. I think this one is, they shaded it. The first half is 121.5 compared to full game at 238. I think it's shaded that way for a reason. I'll go first half over 121.5.
So the Kings, can we say it? They've owned the Lakers in recent years, certainly in recent meetings. This year, Sacramento has won all 3 previous meetings with the LA Lakers. Last year, they won 3 out of 4, and it's been a pretty one-sided series of late. The only victory LA has since the beginning of 2022 was by a single bucket against Sacramento. Sacramento's won every other time. So given that the Kings have owned this series, and given that we've seen relatively high scoring affair, Sacramento scored $130, $125, and $132 in overtime in the 3 meetings so far this year. Wouldn't this be a spot where LA's like, no, we're not going to push pace. Let's slow the game down. From a stylistic standpoint, are you worried at all the Lakers going to play slow first half or slow for the full game against a team that's basically run them out of the gym?
I'm not worried about it. And what you just said last about the Kings, I don't think they'll allow the Lakers to play slow in this game. Another thing to note for this, why I can like it, is you look at the Lakers offense. It's been damn good for the past month or so. They are top 5 post All-Star. And the reason is they're finally actually running plays. They're not just out there playing pickup. They're running sets, they're running plays, and it's resulting in them having a lot better shot opportunities. So I trust the Lakers in half court. I trust the Lakers in transition. And talking about the Kings owning the Lakers, De'Aaron Fox has had a chip on his shoulder ever since, the Lonzo and Fox days. So there's nobody on our side to stop him. I think we get a lot of points tonight.
Skee Profit joining us, everyone, an NBA betting machine. How are you doing? What do you got for the clients?
Well, if I look at the last month, I am 54, 33, and 2 in the association. That's 62%, up $2,613. If you extend that, the NBA run that I'm on is 83 and 51, just below 62%. But I'm seeing the board relatively well, earlier than I was last year. My run started last year, March 22nd. And since then, I'm up 226.6 units in the association. So
wow.
Looking to keep that going throughout the rest of the playoffs. And I'm the kind of person where you won't see a package up for me every day. I might be the only person who releases this many 1% plays, but they add up at the end. So if you would like to be involved with me, like Prez said, I think you should get an all-access package so you get the plays right when I release them. And when I do have the big plays, they've been good too. 103 and 42, 71%, my last 145 NBA 3% or higher.
That's incredible. Outstanding stuff, man. Those are really impressive numbers. Let's get into the next game. Warriors. I love their name. Why is there no warrior in hockey or football or like why? Such a great freaking name. Warriors against the Mavericks. You got to bet for us on this game. What is it?
I do. And I want to talk out, a little bit of my thought process here. And now I'll get to my play. So this Dallas team, they have covered 11 of their last 16 games. But I'll just say this. I've done a good job fading Dallas and fading teams like this in general. I cannot expect a team to win by this kind of a margin if you're not getting stops. And this Dallas team is the second worst defensive rated team post All-Star. So to expect them to win by, close to double digits, I see the line is starting to come down here, but close to double digits, I just can't get there. You're playing against a Golden State Warriors team who is extremely hungry. They're in that 10th spot in the West. They want to make it out of that play-in territory. They are without Steph Curry, but that doesn't mean you won't get effort from that Golden State side. So I wanted to try to get there with them. They will absolutely be the better defensive team. They've been the better rebounding team. And they've covered 3 out of 4 games without Steph and with Draymond this season. What I chose to do, I think, obviously their offense can look better versus Mavs defense. But one thing I know for sure is Warriors have been playing defense. Number 6 defensive rated team post All-Star. And I'm confident that we get effort on that side of the ball for a full 48 minutes. So you look at how the Warriors have been playing. 8 out of their last 11 games, they've held opponents under the 120.5 mark. They've gone under 9 of their last 11 games in general, with opponents averaging 110.2. And you look at the Mavericks. On the front end of back-to-backs, they've played 7 games since December 1st. They've only cleared this number 1 out of those 7 times. They do have the Thunder on deck tomorrow, which is a big game. And even if they are up, they could save some of those minutes for their big players towards the end of the game. So I decided to go with the Mavericks team total under 120.5 for my play in this game.
So you talked about the Warriors defense since the All-Star break. Over the last week, I watched the Spurs just torch this team. I watched the Bulls torch this team, and they gave up 100 and how many points to Boston? I forget how many it was, but it certainly wasn't a strong defensive effort. So let's call the defensive intensity coming and going, or is this a team we're confident really in on the defensive end, despite some of those recent struggles?
Honestly, I think because they had those recent struggles, they'll be even more locked into this game. When your back's against the wall, this is a team that I trust in that situation, and they've showed me time and time again that they will show up. So you can say it's coming and going. I'll say they maybe overlooked those, bad Bulls team and bad Spurs team because when they just played the Spurs again, they held them to 102. So I think we get an effort like that tonight from this Warriors team, and Mavericks struggle a little bit.
Skee Profits, we love having you on, brother. We rotate you and Ronald Kabang, so we'll see you in a couple of weeks. But once college basketball is over, we'll have you on every week. Teddy covers before your big game breakdown. Ducknuts6, a listener of ours, writes, and I want to respond to this. He writes, I'm still pretty new to this, but I'm curious how the strategy is viewed. I've been watching the same team every night and only betting their stats after getting to know the players a bit. I love that. I'm 100% aligned with that type of a strategy. If you can master a team, focus on that team. Bet only that team. Bet against them. Bet on them. If you've been following my NHL, I bet 5-6 teams. I don't worry about the entire league. Teddy, anything to add there before your big game breakdown?
Sure. I mean, the one issue if you're only focused on one team is that a lot of times you're going to end up making a bet on every game that they play because you're like, this is the team I have the read on. This is the team I have the read on. And if you get a little bit off, it can be I would call it somewhat problematic. One team to me is too small of a team of a, You follow one conference, you follow one division. I would say follow a handful of teams That'll give you a little bit more options. That said, if you're betting player props for one team and it's a team you know well, I mean, we've seen a bunch of guys come on the show. I mean, Andy Lang comes on every week. He's like, I'm betting the same prop again and again and again. The markets just haven't caught up. And certainly you'll see that and see opportunities for that if you're betting one team night in, night out. So from a player prop standpoint, I think it's fantastic. From a side and total perspective, I think you probably want to be a little bit wider.
Okay. Teddy, it's time. Let's go.
Big game breakdown. Let's talk some Big East college hoops for, let's call it this afternoon, Xavier and Butler, 1 o'clock here on the left coast, 4 o'clock on the East Coast. This game will be televised on FS1. And right now, I'm seeing Xavier minus 1.5 at Madison Square Garden. Total sitting at 151. I watched these two teams play last week. It was senior day for Butler, and they came out on fire. They were raiding threes early. They led 37-20. And they were still kind of lucky to win the game. The Bulldogs didn't score a point at home on senior day from 4:46 in the first half until 13:29 of the second. So basically, what are we talking about? 11 minutes at home, not even a free throw. Of course, Xavier just didn't make shots, 37% for the game. Only 4 made three-pointers, and 2 of those 4 made three-pointers came in a final flurry in the last minute or two. But Xavier's been a bad shooting team all year. And it's definitely worth noting in that game. Butler lost a rebounding battle, but they were fearless. They won points in the paint. Butler hasn't played a game since. They're fresh, resting and ready. Meanwhile, Xavier just battled against Marquette this past weekend. They led with under 4 to play and then blew that game too. So I'm not convinced that Xavier's a confident team right now in a tight game. And we look at Butler, and you know, Posh Alexander at the point. He's as experienced as it gets in spots like this. Exactly what you want from your point guard in a conference tournament scenario. Xavier's 2-6 their last 8 games. Both the wins came against bottom feeders, DePaul, Georgetown, the 2 worst teams in the conference. They haven't beaten anybody since. And of course, in their last game, they had the huge performance from Quincy Olivari, their star. You know, he averages 22 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. He made 6 threes. He's coming off a 32-point performance, and they still couldn't win at home. How much more can he do? Yeah, we've seen the money come for Xavier. This was Pick'em. Now 1.5. I have no problems fading these type of line moves. Give me Butler plus 1.5 on the neutral floor in New York today. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
And what do you have going for our clients tonight, especially in NBA, because you're so damn good in NBA?
Well, I wasn't good last night. I had the Clippers last night. They led by 20 in the second quarter and lost by 20 when all was said and done. They had,
wow.
And it wasn't. And I was sitting there going, oh, this is going great. And then, and it was, and they were such a wrong side in the second half. They were stuck in the mud. 2 teams playing with very different energy levels in the second half of that ball game. That being said, I have a single play up right now in the association for tonight and one early start in college hoops. We will be adding additional college hoops over the course of the hour after the show. So check back over at WagerTalk.com. Lawrence?
You want to talk about a bad bet, Teddy? As I said, I went 3-1 last night. My loser was on the Wizards first half. I think I was in that game for about 40 seconds. And then
the good news is that it wouldn't have mattered if you had a first half, first quarter, full game. They were it didn't matter.
Well, it matters to me because go ahead.
Because if you had a full game, you'd have been disgusted about that game for 2.5 hours. Instead, you're only disgusted about it for an hour. If you'd played the first quarter, you'd only been disgusted about it for 25 minutes.
Well, yeah, with that said, though, I'm 33-15 in the last 2 years of first half NBA bets. I want to protect that streak. Protect the streak! Nick Borrman joining us, everyone. And Nick, brother, golf season is right in front of us. I have my 4th lesson tomorrow at 2 p.m. I am highly focused on 2 components of my game. Now I have 100 components that need to be fixed. But my focus right now is I'm chicken winging on my follow through. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Jordan Spieth does it. He's pretty good. Go on.
And I'm outside in. Now, I'm not as outside in as I used to be, but Jesus, is it freaking hard to get inside out. And the guy's like, hit the ball on an angle. On an angle? I'm lucky to hit the ball. Anyway, are you excited about the 5th major starting tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't refer to it as that. It's not a major, but it is the biggest non-major event of the year. Yeah, the Players. It's the kind of the beginning of, a great stretch of golf over the next 3-4 months through the summer. So I'm very excited about it. It's going to be an awesome tournament, and I can't wait to get to. And it's all-day TV action. So the great thing about golf betting for those that don't do it is you put in a wager on a Wednesday, and it covers you for 4 days. You watch it for 4 days. I know some people like the quick return in a 2-hour game, but you go through a lot of emotions in those 4 days when you're betting an outright guy or even a top 10. You're like, all right, we're looking good. And all of a sudden 2 back-to-back bogeys, and you're like, this sucks. But it is fun.
Dude,
Golf bettors are they're a different breed.
There was a 10 last week, was there not?
Yeah, there's always one. So it makes us feel good, right, Prez? Makes us feel good.
And
Dude, 10 is my specialty. Teddy.
And of course, you get 4 days of action as long as your guy makes the cut. Otherwise, you only get 2 days of action. And then it's like Prez's first half play last night. You're like, well, at least we don't have to sweat out the weekend for a guy where we're wrong. And then look, we're all wrong sometimes, but you've got a 30-1 shot you want to talk about to win the Players Championship. Tell us who it is and why we should put our money on it.
Yeah, golf outright betting. It's not for everybody, but it is great. And it's usually you're sprinkling on a couple of guys. One of the guys I'm circling on this week, been playing well the last few, Will Zalatoris. And for those that have followed golf for the last couple of years, he's a name you'll recognize. But last year he underwent back surgery in April, so he missed the rest of the season. He came back in December, unofficial event, played at the Hero World Challenge, finished dead last. I mean, rightfully so. He's just trying to get reps back in, right? First official start in January, misses the cut at the Sony Open. Then he started showing signs of life his following start at the American Express. He finished tied for 34th. So, okay, start paying attention a little bit. His next start, tied for 13th at the Farmers Insurance Open. His ball striking number starting to kind of emerge back as what he always is. That's what he does best. And then the last 2 tournaments, tied for 2nd. So joint runner-up at the Genesis Invitational and tied for 4th last week at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. The craziest thing about last week, I was on him last week on Saturday. At one point on Saturday, he had a 5-stroke lead. 2 double bogeys on the back 9, lost that lead, and ended up, Scotty Scheffler pulled away there on Sunday. But he has all the right stuff to win this tournament and to be at least in contention. That's what you're looking for on a Sunday, is just they call it the Sunday sweat, having somebody in contention and you're just sitting on the edge of your seat, watching every shot. Listen, Will's putting stroke gets a lot of attention. Prez may know this, but if you Google Will Zalatoris putting, you're going to see a lot of funny videos. It's not what you would expect from a touring professional. However, he has been effective the last 4 weeks. He's gaining over half a strokes gain per round putting. And much like we saw from Scotty Scheffler, if he can putt because his ball striking is so good, that means his tee to green game, he can get to the green better than most players on the tour. If he can putt, which he has been doing, he's going to be in contention, and that's why we're seeing that the last few weeks. Everything's trending the right way. I like Will Zalatoris. 30-1 is a great number on him. I expect him, even if he's not winning, I expect him to give us that Sunday sweat on the weekend.
So when it comes to looking at some of these to win, outright winner wagers, how many of them in a tournament like this will you make? Because obviously one guy at 30-1 is great, but if you make 5 or 6 of these wagers, whatever you cash, you got to divide it by 6 instead of by 1 to see, what your actual returns were. So how many golfers will you target for an outright winner in a tournament like this one?
Great question. Every tournament's a little different, and it depends on the pricing, right? So Will Zalatoris at 30-1, I might have 3 to 4 guys I have two guys at 30-1, one guy at 60-1, and another in the 40-1 range, right? That's my outright card this week. Now, there's other times where this is a big event, right? So usually you see the cream of the crop rise on these type of events. So their numbers are going to be shorter, but you get to a lesser event. A few weeks ago, I think Mexico Open, not a lot of big names playing, right? You're getting a lot of guys in the 80 to 100 to 150-1 range. Well, you're going less, right? You're not betting, a full percent or a 0.75% or whatever. You might be doing 1/4% or 0.5% or 10 or 20 or $30 bet on these guys. But now, because the payouts are much greater, you invest the same amount. You're just doing it a little less on more guys in that situation because it's more of a crapshoot too. So good question, but I'm usually around the 3 to 4% total in the outright. Just each term is a little different how I break it down.
Nick, before we get into your next game, Corey Connors, Mackenzie Hughes, Adam Hadwin. Canada is in I don't know. This is the greatest group of golfers Canada's ever put out. Is this the year one of them wins the major? A major?
It seems like it's
Adam
bound
Hadwin.
to happen. Yeah, it's bound to happen eventually. Corey Connors was the one that was like the closest to do it. He's kind of fallen off a little bit. But Hadwin, I actually like him this week. Not a major, but he has the pedigree to play well here. But the Canadians, take it for what it's worth. They've done me dirty too many times, Prez. So I kind of tend to, look at them with a grain of salt. But I do like them overall. And you're right. This is the best group of Canadians we've seen in a long time.
So if I had a boy, I would have named him Xavier. I've said that before, but Xander works too because I just want an X in my kid's name. So with that said, you got to bet for us on Xander and then another 12 outright. I don't understand that one. Oh, that's your record. So yes. I'll shut up. Xander Schauffele, what do you got going? And then please promote, and then we'll call it a show.
Yeah, Xander X, as they call him. Longest cut streak on tour, 40 straight cuts made. So we always have the chance with Xander that he's going to be there on the weekend. And I'm looking at him in a top 10 market. You could also look at him in a top 20 market. But anytime you got a guy that's going to usually make the weekend, you might not play great on Thursday or Friday, but you play well enough to make the weekend. And then it just takes one early morning tee time on the weekend. A Saturday, you go out early because maybe you're not up there, and you shoot 500 or 600, and all of a sudden, before you know it, guys are falling back, and you're all of a sudden in the top 10, top 15, top 20, whatever it is. So I like Xander for that reason, that the fact that I expect him to make the weekend, so he's going to give us that 4-day chance to cash this ticket. But in 22 starts, dating back to last year's players, Xander has finished inside the top 25 in 19 of 22 events, including 12 top 10. So consistent, clearly. The one thing is that he's not winning, whether there's always one or two guys outperforming him, or maybe he's just lacking that ability right now, that confidence to close the tournament. Because this guy's a 7-time winner, so he has won. He's not doing it recently. So that's why I left him off the outright card, but I do think everything's pointing for him to at least be in that first or second page of the leaderboard. And what plays well here at Sawgrass, Pete Dye design is he rewards good shots. So it's not like, sometimes on a major you see even good shots get penalized, right? But that's not Dye's shtick. If you hit a good shot, you're going to have birdie chances. It's when you miss by a little bit, you get into big trouble. And Xander is very, very good with his irons. Last week, I say that, of course, last week was the first time he lost strokes on approach, which is your measurement of your iron play, in 26 straight events. So clearly the guy can hit his irons. And listen, it's golf. You're going to have a blip every now and then, but that's an anomaly to me. So I expect him to bounce right back with his iron play. His putting is always strong as well. He's only lost strokes 4 times putting over that same span of 26 tournaments. So 2 key metrics that are important this week is iron play and putting, and his form right now is hot. So I like Xander. I like him to be in contention. I don't know that he'll pull through to win just because he hasn't been able to do that, but top 10, and if you want to go top 20, I like him there as well.
How do the ties work there? Because you always have like 5 guys tied at 7, and then 11 guys tied at 6 under or whatever. You have all these ties. If you have a top 10 finish and a guy who is tied with a bunch of other guys in that range, do you get paid? Do you get partially paid? How does that work?
Great question. And books differ. Some books offer both markets. You can bet a market where it's ties get paid in full, or you bet the dead heat rule market. Most books operate under the dead heat rule by default, but some offer both, and some books just have ties are always paid. So you got to check your book rules. Obviously, if you can, you're going to want to bet the ties pay in full. Now, usually the pricing is going to be a little worse, more expensive, if you will. So maybe Xander 225 at a book that has a dead heat rule might be 2 plus 200 at the book that pays out in full. But there's no perfect ratio there of what the price is to justify choosing, betting pay in full or dead heat rule. It's just a kind of feel thing. But usually for me, if you're betting a top 5 or a top 10, there's more of a chance that you might hit a tie versus a top 20. You get a little bit more leeway there. I might not bet it on the top 20, but it's a great question. Got to check your book rules. Dead heat rule will divide your bet. If you have 6 guys tied for let's say tie for 17th, so there's 3 places in the top 20 and 3 places out of the top 20, you're getting half your bet. And so it's just math like that.
Nick, please get your ass to Toronto, man. It's not a far drive. I need help in my golf game. Nick is a scratch golfer and a golf pro at a course in Atlantic City. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I need help. Carm wants to see you. I want to see you. Come up for a couple of days. We'll play a few rounds. I'll get us a tee time at Glen Abbey. I'm sure you've heard of that course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Is this real? You had 12 outright winners in the 2023 season. I mean, it begs the question, how many golf tournaments were there that you were able to predict 12 outright winners? That's bordering on insane.
Yeah, that was a very, very good year. Usually I'm looking to get 6 to 8 outright winners. 12 was just, listen, it was one of those years I was seeing things well and luck was going my way. You need a lot of luck. But yeah, 12 outright winners, 133 units. Teddy, perfect example of sometimes you're betting bigger boards. Brian Harmon, I only took a 0.5% on, but he was 125 to 1 to win the Open. 60 units right there. So, all it takes when you remember this, when you're betting golf outrights, you might go a month, you might go 2, and then all it takes is 1, and bam, you're right back up and in the positive. So it's not for everybody, but it can be very fun.
That's incredible. You got a promo going. Tell us about that, and then we've got to move on to the daily presidential address.
Yeah, promo right now, BOGO, buy one, get one. So Andy and I, we do our weekly golf show. You can get both of us for 30 days of golf. Normally it's $99 for 1. We're doing $99 for 2 for 30 days. And we conveniently timed this to cover this week, the Players' Championship. And it ends, you'll get coverage all the way through the Masters. And there's no better golf tournament in the world to bet on than the Masters. So it's a perfect time to get that 30-day pass. It's both Andy and I, every play from now through the Masters, $99 for both of us.
Well, I'm going to go look, and I'm going to go bet your plays. 12 outright winners in a season just boggles my mind. Anyway, I'd like to talk golf with you for the next 2 hours, but we can't. Thank you for joining us, my friend. Teddy, we did get over 100 likes. I had to beg, which is a surprise because I went 3-0 yesterday. Okay, boys, it's time for your daily presidential address. I got 2 NHL bets to give out today. Before we get into that, obviously, I want to talk about what's going on with me. And as you all know, I am absolutely freaking rolling. I went 3-1 last night. I am 16-3 in all sports since Saturday. My NHL moneyline bets, 30-15 on the year. I won last night, a miracle win on Vegas. I have another going tonight. I swept my college plays last night. I have 2 tonight, and I have an NBA 4%. Please use the promo code PREZ25. 25% off any package that you buy from me. It'll be well worth it. I'll make you a lot of money. Okay, let's just get straight into it. 2 games, both unders. I like Nashville and Winnipeg to go under the total. I mean, no reason to outthink this. You just play Winnipeg under the total every week. You're going to make money. They're 22-34 to the under. Now, I know they have been scoring of late, but they have still gone under 5.5, 3 games in a row. When you look at Nashville, this is a team that has been scoring too, but man, they have been playing lights out defense. I'm not kidding you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of their last 10 games, 1 goal per opponent. I mean, that's just incredible. And the next one is Washington and Edmonton under the total. Look, Edmonton's a tough team to play under because they're like Florida. They're going to score their 3 or 4 goals every single night, and then you're counting on them shutting down the other team. I'm okay with that. This is a team that is going under. They've gone under all year, 26-34 to the under. They're playing a Washington team that scored 0 goals last game, and I think they're going to regress. So Edmonton under and Nashville under. That's it for the daily presidential address. That's it for the show. Teddy, take us home.
Sure. Be sure to stay tuned for all of the great programming on WagerTalk TV today, including the college basketball show, NBA tip-off, and so much more. Prez and I will be back again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Have fun today. Great day of college basketball betting. Great day of betting across the board. I wish you all the best of luck with your wagers. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll also see you if you're watching college basketball today. And